Welcome to Bleav In 76ers with your hosts, former 76ers point guard Eric Snow and two Sixers fanatics in Marcus and Teja Dash. Bleav In 76ers is presented by BetOnline.AG.
BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports, contests, and events with first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews and news for every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all your sports information, from live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head to BetOnline today or use your mobile device to join today and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BLEAV50, that's BLEAV50, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Bleav In 76ers podcast. I'm Marcus Dash here with legendary 76ers point guard Eric Snow and my brother Teja Dash. Last night we had 15 games last night. I think it was one of the first times in a long time there was every NBA team played last night. And I thought that was amazing. It was like March Madness last night, being able to watch all the games.
Staggered starts too. That I hadn't seen that.
Yeah, right. That was crazy.
No games started at the same time.
That was cool.
It's cool too what the NBA is doing. I mean, whether you're voting red or blue, whatever, it's just cool that the NBA is allowing no people to have the excuse of watching NBA games or having to play in order to allow everyone to go vote today. And
use some of the facilities for voting. So
exactly.
True. Yeah.
So pretty cool that we're getting to do that with the NBA and allowing that for people to go vote. And last night, both you guys had at Phoenix last night, and the opposite happened. So I like the reverse jinxing that way you guys did.
Yeah, I mean it was different, Yeah, I mean,
you guys both had the
guys weren't there. I mean,
Well, in the beginning,
Cam Johnson wasn't there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't a team.
Yeah.
Chris went out in the first couple minutes.
Well, it's more than we had of Harden, I guess. The Harden Paul thing was pretty even.
Dave was out. Yeah, I thought that was a tough one from a style of play, and I wasn't really. And I also didn't expect Joel to play. I didn't think he would play.
Yeah,
but like I said, I did say I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah,
like usually.
A win's a win.
Yeah, I was wrong on who was that before? The Knicks?
The Knicks,
wrong
yeah.
that game too.
Yeah.
Starting to see a trend here with you guys, though. The opposite continues to happen with the picks. So
Good,
hopefully
good.
Keep the reverse jinxing going. I like it.
Reason why I'm not betting my money.
We're definitely not going to go and win the championship this year. So
yeah, definitely.
I actually bet on the Sixers last night with the Saints, so I ended up losing my bet because I had the Saints with the Sixers. So yeah, I was pretty upset by that.
Yeah,
sorry.
That's all right. But as we mentioned, so the first topic tonight. So after a heartbreaking loss on Friday to the Knicks, that was a tough one. I thought we should have won that game, but our Sixers rallied back with an outstanding performance from Joel Embiid and everyone's MVP last night, George Niang, with his 7 3-pointers to beat the Suns in dominant fashion. I know they were without Ayton for a little bit. They were without CP3 for pretty much most of the game. But when CP3 left, I think we were up 17 at that point when he exited the game. So we were handling them with CP3 in there for a little bit. But after the game was over,
campaign played well.
Yeah, he did. But after the game was over, Embiid has said now the Philadelphia Phillies season is over. The Sixers season begins now. He was making a joke, but I saw some people on Twitter actually took that seriously. Were upset that he was taking the first 2 weeks off, which is people don't understand humor anymore, I guess. But how important was last night's win over the Suns for our team's confidence?
Well, I mean, I think it was important. I think that any win right now, the way the season's going, you need a win from that standpoint. I think you needed a win with Joel coming back and James being out. So I think, and on top of that, you need to win your home games. We all know how hard it's going to be on the road. So I think the accumulation of those different things was the reason why we got to kind of start getting a rhythm here and hopefully win more and start getting some separation from the middle of the pack. or the back of the pack, wherever we are.
Teja, what were some takeaways from you from last night?
The Niang game, man, that was awesome.
Yeah,
he just launches them, dude. It's so funny too. He's one of those guys.
he shoots it wherever he catches it from.
Doesn't care, and I think he's honestly,
I'm saying if he catches it high, he shoots it from there. Most guys need to gather a little bit, so that's what I've kind of. I don't know if he does that all the time, but I know last night he was doing.
I think if you like clone Niang and you had one Niang shooting from the free throw line and one shooting from threes, I think the 3-point Niang would win. Like he looks so much more comfortable taking threes and free throws. It's great. I love it. I love it because he doesn't get fouled. That's why. But yeah, awesome victory. We were really hot during that game. Like Niang, they got within 3. I was like, oh, great, here it is. The tide's turning now, and this game's going to go the whole other way. But he literally like propped us up at one point. What was it at one point? Him and Embiid scored 25 straight points for us between those two. Like that's crazy. I thought we played great defense on Booker. He got bailed out of a lot of plays with fouls. I actually thought they were going to do the point of emphasis on offensive players jumping into different defensive players and that being an offensive foul, but I guess not last night. He was jumping all over the place. I thought of a lot of BS calls, but whatever. I think we still played him great. I love the physicality. I love the confidence. I thought it was a great first Harden-less plus Embiid game. Looking at that game, though, without Harden, question for both of you guys, what do you guys think some of the differences are with and without Harden in there? So that's the first Embiid no Harden game we've seen.
I think the biggest difference is, James holds the ball more.
Yeah.
But that's sort of how we play.
Yeah. The ball movement was fast.
But that's what I was trying to say. Like, the ball moves more, or versus another guy that holds the ball less but shoots more. Like, you don't know. It's kind of like which is better, which is not.
Yeah. We were much, I think, faster overall too.
Yeah, because Maxey pushes the ball. But
yeah, it was less.
That's why I've always said I felt that he should be the primary ball handler at times, even when James is in the game. But that playing faster doesn't necessarily mean Maxey has to have the ball. Like, you can throw the ball up the court to play faster. But I think it's just finding the balance of how they want to play when everyone's there. And I do not think that they found that.
With all of them together on the court.
Yes.
No, I don't think so either. Yeah, no. I don't think so. I think we look comfortable whenever we look more comfortable as an offense. We're not better, but they look more comfortable as an offense when one of the main guys is out. Because it just opens up the rest of it for everyone else. Tobias letting it fly. Dude, last 2 games.
It's just not enough. It's not enough possessions.
I know.
But we knew that going in.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I've always said, like, how are you going to determine these possessions? So, oh well.
Tobias 15 shots and 18 shots the last 2 games. So he's doing what we wanted, which is just letting it go. And I was looking at his stats, man. So he's attempting the most threes per game in his career and shooting the highest percentage from 3 in his career. His points per game is the lower than his career average right now, but he's also attempting the least amount of shots in his career right now since 2015. I think he's like averaging like 11, just over 11 shots a game. But while James is out, I think good prop bet. I think Tobias over on points. I think he averages 20 plus for the next month.
I don't know about that.
No, you don't think so? Shooting 17 times a game though? You don't think
Joel there?
If he keeps his attempts around 15 to 18,
yeah, I don't know. I think Maxey pulled back because he didn't shoot a high percentage.
Yeah,
I think he's still trying to shoot 20 plus times a game.
Maxey, you're saying?
Yes.
But even with that, I still think Tobias can get 16 to 18 up. No James?
Want him to. I'm not sure that he gets. I think he barely gets 15.
Yeah. But yeah, I it was very encouraging
because a lot of the shots that he's getting aren't putting him on the free throw line.
Yeah. Although I love when he tries to play bully ball, man.
I'm just saying, like, when he gets to the free throw line, that's when you start getting that 25, 30-point games. But if it's just attempts, even if he's shooting at a 50% clip, 17 shots still won't have you at 20.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, 7 of 15.
Making 3 threes.
Yeah, 3 threes and a couple free throws. He'd have to get
those. Yeah, I'm just saying, like, that's.
Yeah, he'll be in his classic Tobias 17 and 19 range. But he keeps shooting almost 50% from 3. I mean, he keeps taking 6 a game. That's 3 a game. I mean, he looks great. And I just love when he plays bully ball, when he knows he's got someone, either a smaller or inferior guy on him. He knows how to take advantage of it. So it's not.
Yeah,
it's
he
nice.
does. Good. He can score on the little guy, smaller guy, rather.
It's nice to see when he gave that shoulder to Lee. Yeah, that was good. He knew. He's like, man,
too little.
A little dip in. He went that way with it. I love that. That was
nice.
Well, Embiid towards the end of the game, I don't know if there was like the 3 possessions in a row where Tobias did post up on him. Embiid was the one who fed him the ball down there. He threw right back to Tobias. He wanted him to dominate or take advantage of his opponent.
Yep, I noticed that.
But the thing that was, I mean, Eric kind of alluded to it, but like the fact that we won this game, but Maxey having the awful game that he did have, 4 of 18, I think 11 points last night. I mean, that's to have that kind of game and still win by 12. I know they were obviously out with Aiden for a little bit in CP and then Johnson, but like the fact that we won by this handily with that. I mean, bench stepped up. That's the thing. I mean, we haven't had a lot big part of the season. The bench hasn't really stepped up, and this is what we kind of saw last night, at least. Niang being a big part of that.
While Harden's out, though, we're not going to win a lot of those games if Maxey shoots like that.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen. Niang's not going to hit 7 threes every night. That's just not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But Melton looked good again. His defense, dude, is even his on-ball defense. I knew he was good at deflection. I think he leads the NBA right now. But his on-ball defense is a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Like he stays on people, and he can get up there, man. Like he blocked, I think one of Booker's shots.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man.
It was just nice to see having Embiid last night because, like, if you look at that Friday game, and Eric, I don't know if you noticed, at the end of that game on Friday, it was like we didn't know how to handle those possessions. We were just coming down there, just like shooting quick threes. We were up. That's why that lead started to evaporate real fast. Those possessions were awful at the end of that Knicks game when we had that like 8-point lead just evaporate so fast.
I just think it's tough because it's like. And that's why I go back to our brand of basketball. Because when you're down, people are like, you got to shoot quick. Sometimes you got to slow the game down and you got to get good possessions to get you defensive balance, to be able to get stops, to then be able to get the easier opportunities or opportunities to leak out or play, get easier baskets. But it's like when things aren't going your way or a team makes a run, we'll do something where we'll take a quick shot or we'll do something, and it's almost like it's deflating for everyone when something like that happens. And then you see all of that emotion fall, and then before you know it, boom, 8-0 run.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a combination of things and not just, quick shots and all this. I just think it's when teams go on the run, what are we going to do? Yeah, we go through Joel, but are we going to go to Joel at the 3-point line?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are we going to do? And I think him not being completely healthy or ready has something to do with, when things, us stalling out a little bit at times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did he look comparatively to what we saw for the first week of the season? Did he look better to you?
He looked better. I still think that he's not where he wants to be. I think he could say that, but he did look better.
He looked quick on his feet last night.
He looks better. I still wish he didn't fall as much. But he did, he did get a falling coach, like y'all said, or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Falling coach. It's like a stunt man.
Yeah, landing coach or whatever y'all call him.
That should be his nickname, actually. Should be his nickname, stunt man.
So I just it's almost like, and I know it's kind of early, but it's like he was a back-to-back MVP for two straight seasons, and that dominance kind of started early and continued.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get back to that,
Mm-hmm.
is what I'm saying. And I don't know if the injury or whatever, he's a really good player and it shows. But is he in anybody's early MVP conversations? I would say not right now.
No, I'd say, on our team, probably at this point, Maxey is.
So if he's not there, then this, that's where the expectations were.
That's why we have early trouble right there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I did think I was happy with his defensive movement last night. He was all over a lot of shots. He didn't block all of them, but he smacked the backboard. He made his presence known. It's almost like a not getting a sack, but like a quarterback pressure. He had a lot of pressures last night where his hand got in the way and it obviously impacted the shot itself. He didn't block it, but a lot of those were misses off the backboard.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. So the next topic here is something that got blown up on Twitter. I had people like fans of other teams messaging me yesterday that this article. So while it was good to have Embiid back on the floor and to beat the West,
people were messaging you this.
Yeah, I have a few friends from working in Lansing who are big Pistons fans who like to stir up stuff. They sent me this article. So there's some drama coming from Philadelphia media, and I know everyone always has problems with Philadelphia media all the time. They like to stir up stuff, but Philadelphia beat writer Keith Pompey published an article that insinuated some strife between Embiid and Harden. The quote that raised a lot of people's eyebrows, complete speculation, was, quote, "He's mostly been out of sync and had poor body language while playing alongside Harden this season." And my biggest takeaway from this was,
who's the quote from?
The quote was Pompey writing in this based on what he's hearing around,
what he's seeing,
and what he's hearing. My biggest argument with this quote and the thing that's getting blown up by other NBA Twitter accounts is that Embiid has looked off in general this season, not just playing alongside Harden. He's looked off in general. So my question to you guys, what do you guys think of this quote and just this kind of this article that's being blown up by a lot of people who just want to have problems with Embiid and Harden?
I can't say I've seen it. I've seen his body language of Maxey's taking quick shots. I've seen that. So I wouldn't, if it happened, I wouldn't make it a James Harden thing. I would say a style of play thing. And usually when I've kind of seen him do it is when we've taken quick shots. But in my career, playing and watching, a lot of big guys do that when they run the court and guys take quick shots.
Yeah.
That's like every big guy I've seen do that. Seen the best do it. I've seen Shaq do it. I've seen all kinds of guys do it. I've seen Dikembe. I experienced Dikembe doing it. So I don't put much weight into it. I don't put much weight into. It's no different in a guard complaining if a big don't get out and help on the pick and roll. Like, yeah, I don't. I mean, he's there and he's he probably sees things, and I think that he probably has someone that's telling him this. In my opinion, for him to go and write this, I don't think he writes and says this just by what he thinks he sees with his eyes. I think somebody's telling him or confirming this. I believe it's a source or somebody's telling him, confirming this story to him or in agreement with him. Because to me, there's really no reason for a guy to go out on his own and write this article in less than 10 games into the season.
Yeah.
If it's not something that was previously thought or somebody wanted to stir up something.
He wants those clicks. He wants those clicks.
Yeah, it's just really not. It's not necessary 10 games into the season. It really is.
It's a good
and
word.
James not playing. Like, it's really not necessary.
It's a good word for it. Unnecessary. Yeah. No, he's done it a lot before. He's a big fan of drama. It's funny because
I don't know who he is. I don't know. I can't say that I've read any of these articles. I'm sure I have. I read articles. I'm sure I have read his articles. So I don't know. I don't know him. Basically, I don't know him personally. So I don't. So I just think for whatever it is, he has his reason. Whether he believes it, whether he thinks he's seen it. In my opinion, he has some confirmation from somewhere in order to write it.
Wouldn't that be unnamed team source? They love putting that in there.
Yeah, but I don't think you want to say that right now because then you've taken.
Then you're really blowing it up.
That's what I'm saying. Then you're taking it away from this and putting it on the source. So now all people are talking about, oh, somebody in the Sixers is talking. Then that's the story.
Yeah.
But it's in my opinion that someone is you can have a conversation with someone and they be like, oh, I agree with that. But they didn't say anything. They just agreed with what he said. That's not a source telling them. He said it to the source and they just agreed.
Well,
I'm thinking he's getting some confirmation from somewhere to write that 8 or so games into the season. Because this right here, and James has missed games and Joel only played 4 or 5 games, you can't draw that conclusion.
They've hardly even played together this year.
That's what I'm saying. With everything that's
3 games together,
you can't draw that conclusion with the amount of games that they've played with each other and everything else has been going on. If you don't have some knowledge of something before, or someone's telling you something, because this is something that has to come from practice or scrimmaging or training camp. This just can't be 3 games.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, if this is the case, it's something bigger and it's coming from somewhere else. And it usually is all the time if somebody's writing this. Like, I'm thinking his editor is going to be like, you writing this about the Sixers already? This is just how you feel? Because you're risking
credibility.
Saying that, well, you're risking losing those guys. Them dudes shutting you out like, I'm not talking to this guy.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get a quote. You get a quote when I'm talking to the general population of the media. If you're a beat writer, or is he a beat writer? I don't know.
He's an inquirer guy, isn't he, Teja?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So you still got to talk to these guys for the rest of the year.
Mm-hmm. Well, I thought it was very interesting wording, too. It was very clever of him because the statement is not false. He's just tying them together in a sentence that makes it odd. Because I broke it down. Mostly out of sync and poor body language. Yeah, Embiid has had. Yes. He has had poor body language and he's been out of sync this year. That statement is true. And he also plays alongside James Harden. That is also true. But to make it because of, that's the part that it's like, well, that's the part I speculate.
So did he say because of James Harden?
While playing alongside Harden is how he worded it. That's what he means by it, but he's being very clever in the wording of it.
Well, he's saying that so he can defend it either way.
110%. Yes.
Oh, I didn't say it because I was just saying, and he's playing alongside.
I'm just saying
people in the past have said that. Yeah.
He plays with Harden.
But I know what he wanted people, if you're just glancing at the article, or they can gather that and make that a headline to get clicks. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a clickbait.
You know how much I could throw? I started substituting out Harden for a million things, right? Embiid has been out of sync and had poor body language while with his wife and kid. But Embiid has had poor body language out of sync since playing with PJ Tucker. He's had poor body language and out of sync this year with Maxey. Because that first statement is true. Anything else that he's done this year,
anything is different for this season.
It's true. It's all true.
You can use it for everything.
Yeah. You could say Embiid's had poor
but I think James is
on Philadelphia.
I think James is the easy target because he's James Harden, and James might have had a history of, especially in other cities, Brooklyn, of maybe you being able to say this is the case.
Yeah, it's easy target.
Yeah, I just think I think
we put George Niang in there, no one would click on it.
Yeah, I think that it hasn't been we haven't seen enough. If this is going to be the case with the Sixers, I don't think it's going to be a secret.
Yeah.
Especially with Embiid. Embiid hasn't.
I know what I'm saying. I don't think it's going to be a secret. I think it's going to be. I think we'll be able to tell, and I think that going forward, it'll be hard for us to win.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, look, Embiid's been. If Embiid were perfectly healthy, there were no questions about foot, leg, anything sick, then I'd say there's a little more to it. But he has been injured and sick, and Embiid's been known to wear injury and sickness on his sleeve. He's pretty obvious about him dealing with something.
I'm not buying it, but we'll see.
And he always was kind of distracted by that stuff. So to automatically be like, Harden did it. It's like, oh man, come on, isn't that too easy?
You just never know. I mean, he could also have the writer could also have a beef against Joel.
Well, that's something that got brought up. So I was kind of going through like the Twitter comments because it's funny because now Sixers fans have a lot of Harden fans, like Harden, just like fanatics who are now Sixers fans because of
Harden stands.
Yeah. And they were like upset, like, oh, of course, Embiid's got another beef with another player. But Jimmy left him. Ben wanted out. It seems like Embiid's a problem. And then Embiid, Sixer fans, normal ones, were saying like, look, you guys are new to the Sixers. Pompey and Embiid have had kind of spats back and forth before where like he'll ask him a question and Embiid kind of like sarcastically responds back to him based on an article he's written in the past. So they have some kind of
that's what it is. That I don't think that this is exactly what it is, but that has something to do with it.
Yeah.
So,
man, that's all we need right now too. Great.
Yeah.
And what's even worse is that Harden's not playing right now, right? Good timing for this article. Harden's not playing, and he can't basically defend himself with his play on the court. Mm-hmm. So now we have to wait a month being like, well, what, is it a problem? Is it really a problem? We haven't seen them play in a long time.
Yeah.
I don't think the players are worried about it.
Yeah.
No, hopefully not.
And watch us go like 18-4 without Harden, and then like he comes back.
Guys gonna have issues. They're gonna have issues because it is an issue. They ain't gonna have issues because somebody said it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Embiid's the type to call that out too. If he has the next presser he has with Pompey, he's the type to call that out. So if he gets questioned more about this article,
I'm sure they'll ask him about it. Someone will.
Yeah. I was looking to see last night they asked him about it, but I couldn't find anything of him responding back to it or being asked that question. But
yeah, I mean, beat writers. It's interesting.
Beat writers will be right.
Let me ask you, Erica, because this is something that because we're obviously not from Philly, but like I've seen so many comments before from certain just fans online saying that nobody hates Philadelphia players more than the Philadelphia beat writers or the Philadelphia reporters, and nobody hates the Philadelphia reporters more than the Philadelphia fans. I mean, is that just kind of a known thing that like the reporters are just kind of going to like stir up stuff in the Philadelphia, or is that more, in that city more so than others? They look for things to kind of blow up out of proportion.
I don't know. I had a good relationship with our beat writers, even though people didn't like them. Phil Jasner and Stephen A. were the main two.
Class personified, that's why.
I mean, they weren't always
kind.
They didn't say everything nice about me, but they were always nice and respectful in person. But they also let me, if I had something to say to them, I said it, because that was the relationship was established.
Mm-hmm.
But I never felt like they were picking on me.
They were out to get you. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I never felt that way, where it's like, well, you probably have some radio hosts. It's like, once they get on the guy in Philly,
that's their thing.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's their thing. It's like, no matter what you do, they're going to, if you have a great game, then they're going to talk about the game before that you didn't have a good one. You know what I'm saying? Like,
do that too.
That's like their thing. And I never felt like my beat writers in Philly were like that. Now, other guys may feel different. I'm only speaking for my experience with them.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think everybody had a situation where a beat writer, if he's doing his job, he's going to piss everybody on the team that's playing off.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to happen if he's doing his job, because no one's perfect. No one likes anything. So it becomes down to, is he making his accusations based, or his conversation based on how you playing? Is it personal? Is it attacking your character? I was never put in that situation where it was anything other than basketball. And they had their opinions, and I didn't always agree with their opinions. But it was some positive there too.
You had AI soaking up all the non-basketball stories up. That's why.
Now, that, you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of times with AI, like on the non-basketball stories, it wasn't even really the beat writers. It was other people.
Yeah, that's true.
People that don't even come in the locker room. That's, for the most part, I think most guys have a problem with people that doesn't come in the locker room, won't show their face, don't come to practices, don't come to games, then have everything to say.
Was Stephen A pretty active and present?
Stephen A is exactly the way he is right now. There. He has not changed a bit.
No, but like was he always there when he would go to practices? Okay.
Yep, always there. If he said something you didn't like, you pull him to the side and be like, yo, dude, what's going on? And he would hear you out. He'll say whatever you got to say. My relationship with him was the fact that he did not shy away. He did not write an article and say this and that and disappear. The fact that if he said something that you, quote unquote, didn't like, he showed up. For you to say whatever. So that's why I think he has a relationship with so many guys, because it's and at least in my time of playing, I don't know his relationship with these guys playing right now. I know in my time, that was the main reason why, because the one thing the guys didn't like was people to write articles and disappear or not be around. But he wasn't like that.
Yeah.
And then, then the AI thing happened, and that brought him attention nationally, and he took it from there. But he's a talented guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He works hard.
Oh, yeah.
So he worth everything that he got.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah.
The one thing in my football show, because Jason used to play with the Eagles, and he talks about Howard Eskin being the one that he always heard, and that was the name that most players on the team just couldn't kind of stand.
Yes, but it was Howard wasn't the guy that really got on me as much. And I know it was another guy, I think, that was like, I was his guy. I don't even know his name. But Howard, a lot of people didn't like Howard. I never had an issue with Howard, but Howard came around all the time. Came to all the games, showed his face. You can say whatever you want about him. So I seen Howard differently, but a lot of people didn't like Howard. And I'm talking about fans. Fans, I mean, they would bring him out on the court, like he would get booed. Like, but in my experience with him, I had no issue with him. But I seen it differently by a lot of other people.
Right.
But Howard was the most popular radio guy when I was playing. And he was AI and Howard, or even Coach Brown and Howard. They had some disagreements.
I even hear Maury in press conferences. He's got a different tone when he talks to Howard. Completely different tone.
Is Howard still around?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, he's still on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Yeah, no,
is it?
he still has spots.
No,
Because he was pretty big during the whole Simmons stuff. Because I remember last year he was getting played on the radio a lot during that.
Okay. Yeah, how was it? He's funny.
Mm.
I'm gonna have to call him, see what he's trying to start up.
See what he thinks about that Pompey report.
Huh?
See what he thinks about that Pompey report.
Let's see if I even have his number still.
All right. So the last topic here. So the Sixers have a couple days off. The next game will be traveling to Atlanta to take on the Hawks Thursday night. Another NBA TV game, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hawks off to a strong start this year, 7-3 and a 4-1 record at home. So my question to you guys: who do you guys have? I don't know the spread yet, but who do you guys have and why on Thursday night against the Hawks?
Hawks are going to win.
Now, you really mean that? You're just trying to reverse jinx it.
Yeah, I'm trying to reverse jinx it because I'm with my picks this year. Well, no, I mean, if I'm being serious, like
now hold on.
They're good.
Trae Young was just out with a shin injury. The line probably won't be on the board till they know he'll play or not.
Yeah, but they just beat Milwaukee without him.
Without him, yep.
They're good at home. If Trae wins, it's going to be tough. I mean, I think we lose there and come back home and beat them.
Yeah, they're playing really good ball. Different teams, but it was interesting. I looked at them last year. We played them 3 times. It killed them by 28. And the next 2 games were 2-point games each. The game they beat us, they were without Young, Capella, Herter, and Gallinari. All of them were out, and they beat us that game. And we were fully stocked. Which is
I remember that game.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think it can go either way. I think it'll be a really, really close game. I'm hoping we can carry out the momentum and win. I think it'll be a nail biter within like 3 points or go either way, man. If I have to pick one, I say they win at home.
No carryover effect from this dominant win against Phoenix to Atlanta.
I just think it's tough to win down there.
3 points is pretty good.
Going in there, everybody's having, Trae Young, he plays. He's had 3 or 4 days off. Tough.
I mean, look, Doc did say we've been focused and intense at practice, which is great. Everyone's locked in. Yeah, I'd love to continue that and have it, go on to Atlanta, but it's not an easy game. They're at home, and
but I also think not having James is going to show his face more so on the road.
Yeah. But Tobias averaged 19 last year against them, so we'll see what his player prop is because I might go over.
And maybe Paul Reed get some more minutes in that game. Doc actually mentioned that Paul Reed has spectacular performance on last night.
I was going to mention that earlier. That's one thing too, that last night, without the Harden aspect of it and be back, the rotations, I liked them a lot last night. I think they were really, Doc did it, and the staff did a really good job. And yeah, man, Reed deserves more minutes. You got to play him.
It's easy to do that when you take James out. So I'm saying it's easy to manage those rotations, and Daniel House is out too. So, unless, you know what I'm saying? So it's just, easier. That's all I'm saying from a rotation standpoint.
Yeah.
And Trez didn't play at all last night. So that was the Paul Reed switch. So,
yep.
Paul Reed provides that energy, that defensive spark, man. We'll see. But we'll see about the game on Thursday. Hopefully we pull out the win in Atlanta. But we'll see you guys Friday for aftermath of that Atlanta game. So everyone, make sure you go vote tonight. Go vote. All right, guys. See you guys
Later.